Hey guys, welcome to today's video. We're going to be discussing fuel economy mods and their return on investment. So, we're going to start off with DPFs. DPFs, if you don't already know, specific to diesels, as they are diesel particulate filters. These exist purely to capture some of the soot that comes out of your exhaust to improve emissions. Despite your opinion, or regardless of your opinion, DPFs don't actually significantly reduce fuel economy unless you drive in start-stop traffic regularly. If you regularly drive on the motorway at fairly high speeds at normal cruise loads, then it's unlikely, depending on the RPM that you're driving at, it is unlikely that you will need a regeneration cycle that the car starts itself. It should be able to regenerate and not have a significant impact on fuel economy. So I'm going to start by putting the DPF delete in D tier. Next we have LED lighting. So this would be swapping your interior lights or your headlights, DRLs, from halogen or xenon to LEDs. While this does work, the ROI is quite poor. If you guys look into buying LEDs, you'll notice that the price difference between halogens and their LED counterparts is fairly significant, enough that your ROI would realistically be in the decades and not years. So while it does work, I'm going to put it in the D tier. Next we have EGRs. So if you guys don't know, EGRs are called exhaust gas recirculation. So the idea is, while your car's running, it will take some of the exhaust gas and bring it back through the intake as to act as an inert gas. This sounds great, however, exhaust gas contains soot, and soot clogs the EGR, leaving it either forced closed or forced open. Normally, in regular operation, this is perfectly fine, as they don't clog up for a while, though when they do, they will have a significant impact on fuel economy. Now the easiest solution is to either delete them, use a blanking plate like shown here. This won't be available for all cars, as for example my own. You require a remap to remove it from the map, otherwise the car will get angry at you and throw a code. Assuming your EGR is fine, there's not a significant impact on fuel economy either way, but when they're clogged, there is. So there is some merit to these. Next we have using thinner oils. So this could be either transmission fluid, gearbox fluid, sorry. I wouldn't recommend using thinner oil in a automatic. So for manual transmissions, I generally say that using thinner oils is a fairly poor idea. It will increase wear. Same for your engine, it's not worth the risk. Just stick with whatever oil is recommended by the manufacturer. Some people do also look into swapping axle grease with thinner kinds. It will improve fuel economy, like oil and transmission fluid, but so insignificantly compared to the frequency at which you're going to have to buy replacement parts. So this is going to go into D tier. Now we have coilovers, or anything to lower your car. These are a very boy math solution, the idea being a lowered car is better because it has less drag. There is some merit to that. A lower car will have a lower drag coefficient. However, comparing the decrease in drag to the significant upfront cost results in you probably having swapped the car long, long before it's made its money back for you. So C tier, actually D tier, there's no significant ROI, or no measurable ROI. Next we have driving in neutral, or coasting in neutral. This does work as, say, going down a slight decline, instead of having to add slight gas to keep your car going at highway speeds, you can just pop it into neutral and it will just coast and keep that speed. This reduces fuel consumption fairly significantly by reducing drag, as the only fuel being consumed is just keeping the car idle. The one downside is if a situation were to occur where you'd need to accelerate, you'd have to spend time putting it back into gear, though most of the time it's fine. For automatics, disregard this, just drive it how they are. They work fairly well. I'm going to put this into A tier. Next we have wheel covers. These go over your already existing wheels, so you don't need to buy new ones. It reduces drag by acting as a smooth surface instead of your regular bumpy wheels, which does effectively reduce drag fairly well, though it has the one downside of slightly increased brake temperatures. Depending on where you live, that almost certainly won't be an issue, but if you live in a hot climate and your car is heavy, maybe best to skip past these. But for myself and other people driving small cars in colder countries, this is a solid A tier decision. Now we have the fun one. Anything that claims that you can put it into the OBD2 port and gain fuel economy is almost certainly lying to you. So these don't work, D tier. Air conditioning or not using it. If you're driving at slower speeds, pop the windows down. If it's too hot, up AC. Generally, it's best to use max AC for better economy. That way you're not wasting your time using air conditioning more often. Most cars use an on or off air conditioning system, so it's either running or it isn't. Newer cars do use air conditioning systems that have variable displacement, but mine doesn't, and unless your car is quite new, it also won't. So as such, just using your AC less. It works, but nobody wants to. Next is a remap. Now you can gain fairly significant fuel economy improvements by remapping your car. However, the ROI is fairly poor considering a remap costs around £200-300. At most you'll be gaining 5 miles per gallon under ideal conditions, assuming you drive exactly the same as you did before, which most people don't after you've remapped your car. So as such, this is going to go into the C tier. It will improve fuel economy, but not significantly. Next, we have grille blockers. They work fairly well. The idea is it'll divert air around or above your car instead of it going through the front grille, effectively reducing drag very, very slightly. They work fairly well. They're cheap. They can be free. They're easy to make. And I guess it technically protects the front of your car from rocks a little bit better. It does also have a benefit in winter, where your car will take slightly less time to get up to operating temperature. As such, it's a free upgrade. I'll A tier it. Cetane booster or octane booster, depending on whether you drive a diesel or a petrol. These don't improve fuel economy in any meaningful way. It's the same as picking different fuel. Only do it if your car needs it. So, D tier doesn't save fuel. Next, weight reduction. Weight reduction works fairly well. This is an extreme example of that. I can't imagine most of you want to do that to your car. But weight reduction means slightly less weight to push uphill, meaning less fuel spent. Works fairly well. If you rip out your back seats, you're saving a significant amount of weight. Some of them can weigh 5-10 kilos, which is fairly significant if you're going to be removing all of the seats. So it works, but it's not huge. It's also free. Next, fuel efficient tires. So these will have lower rolling resistance, meaning less drag, meaning better fuel economy. Works fairly well. Tires are expendable anyway, they're consumable items, so this upgrade is effectively free because you will need new tires. A further benefit of lower rolling resistance tires is the compounds are harder, which means they last slightly longer than grippier options. So I'm going to put this in A tier, the one downside being slightly less grip. These are aerodynamic wheels. Same as the wheel covers, except you've got to pay for new wheels, which means they're automatically worse, though they do look far, far better, depending on your tastes. So for this, same benefit for increased cost, I'm going to put this into B tier. Next, we have changing your driving habits. So this one's free, and it can have a significant impact on your fuel economy. So best practice is generally slowly get up to cruising speed and use your brake as infrequently as you can safely do so. So that means coasting towards traffic lights, junctions, roundabouts, that kind of thing. You'd be surprised how much fuel economy you can gain by just doing those small things. So naturally, S tier. Next, we have roof racks and roof bars and deleting them. This can have a huge impact on fuel economy compared to the cost you put in, though the overall decrease in fuel usage is fairly low, and it can also make your car look a little silly depending on what you have. So personally, I wouldn't do this, so I'm going to put it in B tier. Next, we have car maintenance. Do this, otherwise your car's going to blow up. Change your oil every 6,000 miles. Don't wait until the 20,000 mile interval, and your car should last a while. S tier. It has to be done. Next, fuel pressure. Tire pressure. Generally, you want to keep it as high as the manufacturer suggests for fuel economy. So mine suggests 36 psi for fuel economy, 31 for comfort. So naturally, mine's always sitting at 36 psi. There are downsides, slightly lower contact patch, and a lot more road noise. The tire is effectively harder, meaning that you will hear more road, it'll be bumpier, but you do get better fuel economy. So this is going to go into A tier. Premium fuel. Not worth it unless your car asks for it. You're not going to get better fuel economy. It's a waste of time. D tier. Car under trays. They work fairly well. They're not too expensive. A fair amount of time goes into designing them if you're doing them yourself. Otherwise, you've got to pay somebody a fair amount. So the idea is the air going under the car hits a lot less of the car underneath as it goes past, meaning slightly less drag. They work, but they're not great in terms of cost anyway. So yeah, that finishes off my tier list. If you have any questions or comments, shockingly enough, leave them in the comments down below. And thank you.